Bom dia, bem-vindos a mais umas conversas imobiliárias. Hoje é quarta-feira, são 12h12 e eu quero partilhar com vocês uma conversa super especial que eu tive com um consultor que conheci em Las Vegas. Ele é o David Huffaker e agora estava a misturar o inglês com o português. Ele é um consultor top producer. Ele é um exemplo de liderança, já tem uma equipa super grande. Ele vai falar um bocadinho do percurso dele. E eu fiquei super entusiasmada quando o conheci e não podia deixar de trazer um bocadinho da aprendizagem que ele fez ao longo do percurso e, portanto, desta partilha. E ele disponibilizou-se para estar aqui um bocadinho connosco, e por isso eu vou já passar aqui ao David Huffaker.
Hey, Susanna, how are you?
Hi, David. I'm good. And you?
Oh, I'm amazing. I'm just
You
getting
came back
back from
from
vacation
vacation.
and just appointments and conversations and just spent the last 45 minutes with Gary trying to just think through some challenges. And so, he always makes it so easy. It's like just go
Mm,
win.
yeah. David, first
How's
of
your
all, I really appreciate you taking the time for this conversation because I
Yeah, of
know
course.
your schedule is packed and I don't take this for granted. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
for context, I'm a mentor and coach real estate agents here in Portugal. And I also run the largest online real estate summit in the country.
Nice.
So I really like to help real estate agents to build predictable, scalable businesses. And I really like for them to meet other people because I believe this is most, most important for them. So we've met in Las Vegas, and I've been
You
following
guys
your.
just had Portugal family reunion, right? Portugal and France, was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw my friend Brett
yeah.
Brent Caldwell came and had a chance to speak there. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I've been following your work. I've seen how you built something truly remarkable, for at least for our country is really great. So I would love to dive a little bit into your mindset and your leadership strategies and how you've structured growth in your business over the years.
Sure.
So if I can ask, looking at your journey, what were the defining moments that shaped the way you run your business today?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been in the real estate industry um, uh, 21 years, right at 20 years. It's a little bit longer. And so I spent the first 8 years in the industry working for a national home builder doing on-site sales as a sales agent in a community in a model home, selling new construction homes. The builder that I worked for the first few years I worked for them allowed us to do some residential resale real estate. And so I had some understanding of that. So if someone came in, needed to sell their house and things like that. After that, I left there in 2012 and then decided to try my hand in the resale world, which was a big jump for me. At the time, my wife is a homemaker and we had 3 young boys, and to leave the security of predictability of on-site sales and to kind of, spread my wings entrepreneurially into my own kind
Yeah.
of endeavors was a big leap. And so from there, kind of took me longer than I expected to kind of get my feet under me. But then started building a real estate team, moved to KW in 2014, built a real estate team. We reached 100 million and right at 5 years. And then grew it up
Wow.
to at one point about 225 million for the Huffaker group. And then last year, level 8 had the opportunity to do a little over 650 million. Along the way, I became OP. And so you talk about like the most impactful. I do believe working for a builder taught me the thing that I like about, so I hire agents that work for builders because when you work for a builder, you're an employee of the company and you don't have an option to wake up and go do the job. And that was one of the things of building the discipline. I worked for a builder in 2008 and 2009, which in the States was not a great time to be selling
No.
real estate, right? Or working for a
Yeah.
builder. And I remember, Susanna, literally going into my model and sitting for weeks without someone coming in. And what it reminds
Wow.
me of these days is like having to go into the office and circle prospect or call expired or call or lead generate in some form or fashion and do it for weeks with people either not answering or telling you no, or you're not getting the appointment. But when you work for someone else and it's your job, you still get up every day and you go do it regardless
Yeah.
of the outcome. And I felt like that was such a great, in the moment it was very frustrating. And I remember just trying to, number one, you had to get creative and you had to strategize on how you were going to make a living. Because even working for a builder, you didn't make much money if you didn't sell houses. So it was trying to figure out how to solve for X. But it's like everything else we do. It's like it's the relentless pursuit of just getting up and doing the work, right? It's just consistency, time on task done consistently over time. The fact that I had to walk into that model every day, and even after 2 weeks of not seeing anybody, I had to go through and I had to turn on every light bulb. I had to bake cookies, right? I had to turn on the open sign. I had to put the A-frames out. I had to go put directionals out. I had to blow up balloons. And look, seriously, by like the 12th or 13th day, you're going, who cares, right? You know how many cookies I ate because we didn't have anybody coming and eating cookies, and I had to bake the cookies in the model. So it was,
Wow.
but again, fast forward to how do you build a successful real estate business? And I did know making the transition over that I had to show up. I had to make the calls. I had to do it day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. And my theory has always been, if you could just show up for 30 days in real estate and do the work and live a six-figure life, we wouldn't have an 87% failure rate, right? So I look at it and I go, if it were simple, if it were that simple, then 9 out of 10 people wouldn't get out of the business in 2 years. And so I look at it and go, there is this, the thing that I like about real estate teams is, if you're planting correctly, right? And so you think about you throwing out the seeds in the Bible reference of like, some of them are going to fall on hard ground, some of them are going to fall on rock, some of them are going to fall on good soil. It's like you just have to keep planting and planting and planting and planting. At least with KW, you know where to plant, right? And I think the industry is starting to get better at it, but then it becomes, are you willing to plant, right? Are you willing to get up and go plant? One of my favorite quotes right now is, you don't harvest in the season that you sow, right? So there is a season of sowing and you have to wait for that season of harvest. And that's real estate, right? Like it takes 6
Yeah.
or 8 months of doing the right, of planting, right? Of doing the right sowing so that you can get the results. The challenge in our industry is people don't know exactly where to plant. So they go plant over here for 2 weeks and they go sow over here for 2 weeks. And then they look up and they go, well, this doesn't work.
But what kept you going? Because if I really, it's amazing because I know I've been there also, and no one shows, and no one shows, and no one shows, and you get no and no and no. What kept you going?
Yeah, I had when I left the new construction world, I went and worked for a broker here in my town, and I kept making this comment to her. Well, if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to new construction. If this doesn't work out, I can always go back to new construction. And it was about 4 months in, and she was like, David, you're never going to make it if you've got a fallback plan. So for me, again, I had 3 hungry boys at home, right? I mean, my kids needed shoes. I had to put food on them. I had this why of like, I had to produce. And it was at one point where I said, like, you just got to burn the ships. And I kind of looked up and I was like, I went to college. I wasn't always the best student or the best person growing up, right? I was a little wild and rebellious and got myself into probably a lot of trouble. And so when I looked up at that point, I was like, I had chosen to make this my career. And if it wasn't going to be this, I was just going to be everybody else that quit. And I just don't want to be, I don't want to, if I'm going to be like everybody else, I'm going to get what everybody else gets. So I've got to be willing to do more than what everybody else is willing to do, which in my brain, I'm not unique. I'm not special. I don't have some special skill set. I don't have some secret sauce. So I just had to work harder. And so that was like, okay, like I've been working since I was 12 years old, right? Like I've worked 2 and 3 jobs my whole life. Like I will do what it takes from a will standpoint. And then what I've discovered over the last 20 years is when you have this appetite for doing it, for doing the will, the skill develops, right? Like you're just not going to do it over and over and over again for 90 days or 120 days without developing some type of skill. And through doing the repetition, you start to find where are the faults. Okay, how do I fix that? How do I get better? Can I start improving my conversion rate? I just think people give up too quick, right? I just think it's a perseverance, and and I get it, right? Sometimes people need money, but it's like, again, if you could get there in 30 or 60 days, everybody would do it. And it would be simple. And look, honestly, if everybody could do it, you couldn't charge what you charge for it.
No.
Right. And so
Exactly.
it's this, once you get over the hump, you realize like, oh my goodness, all this time and energy and work and frustration and self-doubt and all the things that I did to get here, everyone else is going to have to go through that too if they want to get here, which is what makes the top, right? And it's what makes you in a position to go, if you just got to be willing to do the work. A few people out there will get lucky. Almost everybody else, it's just perseverance, right? You just got to outlast your mistakes.
Yeah. About mistakes, what's a mistake or a challenge you faced in your career that taught you an invaluable lesson?
Yeah, I'll say I don't ever really find the right way to do something. I find every possible way not to do it, where the right way is the only option left when you get down to it. And maybe it's a glutton for punishment, because I do, again, it's you just found 900 a light bulb kind of mentality. I think I had a lot of success in new construction sales. I was in my mid to late 20s, and I walked around like a proud peacock, right? Like my ego kind of got the better of me. I thought I was just a gift to real estate. And to the point where some of the things I was saying and some of the ways that I was acting, I'm still embarrassed about to this day. And I think in that, instance, being able to look back now and go, making the transition when I left the new construction world with, and just thinking that I was so great at everything. And then this humbling experience to come into general real estate and realize that being an entrepreneur and being a realtor was really hard. And there was a lot of challenges with it. And it wasn't just an ego thing. It was a humbling experience to have the rug pulled out from under me and to be taught that. But I do think over the course of the last, 12, 13 years of success, one of the things that's led to our success is servant-based leadership, where now I intend, and I'm very intentional about trying to lead my people and be in business with people that are greater than me, and understanding that like I try to do it without any ego, so that we can lift our people up and raise them up and allow them to shine and allow them to be to where we're behind our people, lifting them. We're not in front of them trying to pull them along. And I wouldn't have learned that lesson. And so I think, one, it comes with age, right? But I do think like checking the ego and understanding like we're all on this earth. We're all just trying to get by, right? We're all trying to do the best that we can. All the self-talk and the thoughts like that. Then once I realized that, truly humbled and kind of looking up and going like, okay, I don't really know anything. Like, I don't know anything about leadership. I don't know anything about running a business. I don't know any, then going and learning, right? And I think that's where, if you look at the KW leads, listings, and leverage, if you'll persevere, you eventually figure out how to generate enough leads, and you figure out how to convert them, which is what the listing L really stands for, right? It's buyer and seller listings. Can I create the lead, and can I convert the lead? That part of the triangle is being a real estate agent. The leverage part of the triangle, what we realize is that even mega teams, whoever you are, as a coach, we start looking at that and going, people will spend 40 years trying to solve the leverage piece. And what happens is that just like me in my 20s, I thought I was a good agent and a good salesperson. So I thought, therefore, it made me a natural leader. It made me a good business owner. And what you realize is that when you do leads and listings really well, after about 18 to 24 months, you start running a really good business. And then the next pitfall that you've got to cross is that you're going to look up and think that because you're a great salesperson, you're now a great recruiter, you're now a great manager of people, you're now a great leader. And I had to look up and go, we actually created, with Gary's permission, a 6Ls prism, right? And so because when I got to leverage, I was like, that's not the same skill set. And so we introduced leadership, legacy, and longevity as 3 additional Ls, which turns it into a 3-dimensional shape. But I had to go out and I just had to start devouring leadership books. I had to start going to mega camps, family reunions, seminars, classes, podcasts, anything I could get my hands on, because I recognized that I wasn't a great leader, right? I just wasn't born as a natural leader. And so I had to try to figure that out. Then you get into legacy and longevity. How do you do it through shifting markets? How do you, when someone moves the cheese, we've all experienced this probably over the last, 36 months, the market's changed, lawsuits. I don't know about where you guys are, but drastically different for us. And so again, being able to navigate those pieces, to me, is the journey, right? It's why we can spend a whole career becoming better and better and better. And where we see almost, as a coach, where I see the majority, as an OP is probably where I see it. I own a couple of KW franchises, and I see agents go from being great agents to just, I'm just going to collect a bunch of other agents and we're going to be a great team. And that just doesn't work real well, right? You really miss out on this value proposition of lifting someone up and helping someone else accomplish their goals, which is what leadership is really about, is how do I help Susanna accomplish her goals? And when you accomplish your goals and enough other people accomplish their goals, my goals get fulfilled as a byproduct of that. That's different than getting a listing lead and going on a listing appointment. And so I think we fell at it. And then I hear a lot of agents look up and go, I'm just not meant to run a team, or I'm not meant to, or this doesn't work, or they have all these reasons. And I back up and go, well, if you're willing to accept the fact that you just don't know everything, and that's okay, and none of us are born just really great leaders, well, that's cool, because now I can learn it, right? Now I can go experience it. Now I can have a growth mindset to go, well, I could put in the work, right? And now you come back to, are you willing to put in the work, right? And then you get to this next scale of, now I got to put in the work doing something else, right? Now I got to put in the work to be a great leader. And then you eventually, when you're a D leader, you attract D talent. And then that helps you grow to be a C leader. And when you're a C leader, you attract C talent. That helps you to grow to be a B leader. And when you're a B leader, you attract B talent, right? And so you get to this point where you become this B or A talent level leader. And just like in learning how to put in the will to become a great realtor, you've now put in the will, and the skill has shown up to be a great leader. And that combination will make you millions upon millions of dollars. It will help change the generational financial structure of your entire household. And now you got a really cool skill set. Where I'm at on my journey now, like, what's the next thing, right? How do you become an industry changer, right? How do you have an impact on the industry as a whole, so that more and more people, for me, one of my passions is correcting that 9 out of 10 failure rate, right? To where when people get into real estate, they can be successful at it, and that there's a clear path for them to be good and to be able to provide a living for their family and make an impact on their community. So I say, as realtors, we're the only people on planet Earth that get to go sit with people in our own communities and talk about their divorces, talk about their marriages, talk about the babies on the way, talk about the kids graduating high school. We get to be there for the intimate, most emotional parts of people's lives. And we're doing it not as doctors or attorneys, which are the other 2 industries that have the opportunity to do it. But that doesn't sound fun. They're not there for the fun parts, right? We get to be there for the fun parts of people's lives in our communities. And what impact can we have on that? And how do we change? How do we allow more people to do that? Because when I can take care of my family and live a big life, because I get to go have an impact on my community through being there for the important parts of it, and you do that at scale, that's the best industry on planet Earth.
Yeah, it's great. That's awesome what you share now, I've heard you sharing this in Las Vegas before, and it's really very clear the vision that you have. Tell me one thing. What do you think? Because the industry is constantly changing, and we are changing now as we speak. What do you think real estate agents need to be focusing on right now to stay ahead?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it's always going to change. But the underlying truth of what we do, your value in the marketplace is determined by the level of contribution that you make. It doesn't matter if you're a realtor, if you're a doctor, if you're a dentist, whatever it is, right? Like it's not, I can tell you this, another mistake I learned along the way was I was chasing the big dollar, right? I was chasing the millions, right? It was about money for me. And I, you know, I didn't come from much. And yet I learned when I accomplished that goal, when you make that the goal, it's very empty when you hit it. And you kind of, I've gone through this rediscovering of myself over several years to kind of understand like what is the passion, right? What is there? And so I would say like for where you're at in the industry now, I say this because you couldn't have told me don't chase it for the money. I'm going to say don't chase it for the money. And I know everybody out there like me is going to go, yeah, whatever. I'm going to go, I'm going to go make the money. Find that why that carries you through. This industry always evolves. That's why we got into it, right? It's why we're entrepreneurs, because we didn't like doing it. For me, I didn't like doing the same thing every day over and over again, right? I like the chaos of it. And I think most top entrepreneurs thrive in that chaos. And so as you're finding that, your ability to handle, you're not trying to go handle a specific situation. You're trying to build the skills to handle whatever situation. That makes sense. So to me, like if I'm focused on skills, it's communication skills, it's understanding personality profiles and how to interact with other people. If I could get agents to do anything, it is play pro, right? Play pro, play at the pro level. Have a coach, have a mentor. Even the best batters in the world still have a hitting coach, right? And they still go to hit batting practice every day. And so I think it's important that you align with the right people, understand that success leaves clues, knowing that like there is a certain way. And look, for my people right now, it is hard, right? This market, all the nuances to it. You've got a group of people that don't want to move when the cheese moves. They're still trying to live in the 2021, 2022 mindset. You've got a whole new crop coming in. You've got brokerage noise all out there. The one piece of advice I would give everybody is the success lies within you, not outside of you. It doesn't matter. I love KW, don't get me wrong, but your success is a result of you. Who gives you the best environment in order to thrive and be successful? To me, I believe KW gives us the best environment, but I don't put the burden of my success on KW. I am successful in the KW ecosystem because of the environment that it gives me for my internal growth and development. And so as long as I'm focused on growing me internally, I find that other people want to follow and that other people want to work with you. And people, having a plan and having people is the recipe for success. Have a clear plan, develop yourself, people will come along with you, and you'll grow a world bigger than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I believe that also. If we don't grow inside the business, it's not possible to grow. Yeah,
I think the house is honestly, I hate to say it's just a widget, but because they're humans, and I do love the piece of being in the community and being able to, but the house just happens to be what we sell. I think that amateurs focus on selling real estate. Professionals focus on running a business, where the real estate is just the thing that drives. It's just the product, right? And we get to borrow product. But if you're really good at developing yourself and developing relationships and communicating with people, you will be a better realtor, right? And I think that's where sometimes we get so focused on how to get a client or sell a house, and we get so caught up in that process. And yet I go like, well, zoom out. Just be a great community member. Be a great person at the schools. Be a great person on the baseball fields. Be a great person at the churches. Be a great person in the grocery store. The real estate comes as secondary of just interacting with your community at a high level, and then build that. For me, my personal brand is the economist of choice when it comes to real estate. People are going to call me because they understand that I understand the numbers and understand what's going on in the market, and they trust my perspective on it. When you can put that level of professionalism and insight on it, play like a pro, right? If you play like a pro, play like a pro day in and day out, you will eventually start acting like a pro, and running a professional business, a professional company versus, and you're just seeing right now the disparity in the industry, right? 90% are doing, 10% are doing 90% of the work. And I think you're going to continue to see that. We're just in that part of the cycle, right? And it is a cycle.
Yeah. David, it was an incredible conversation. If you have a message to send to Portuguese real estate agents, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think find a great mentor, create a plan, stay consistent with the execution of the plan. All right. It's the distractions are distracting. Yeah. I know that seems pretty straightforward, but it's, as realtors, as entrepreneurs, again, get a plan, know where to sow. Just have a plan. I'm going to sow right here. This is my thing. I'm going to do a great database. I'm going to do builders. I'm going to do whatever your thing is. And then just keep doing it over and over, and just do it and just do it and just do it and just do it. You got to be comfortable in the boredom of success.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, for those who want to follow you, learn from you, or connect with your work, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the best way to reach out to me is through Instagram. It's at DP Huffaker. It's my last name, Huffaker, right? So it's D as in David, P as in Philip, Huffaker, at DP Huffaker on Instagram. If you follow me on there, we'll connect. I always send everybody a message once they join, just introduce myself and say hello.
Thank you. I truly appreciate your time and generosity in sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for connecting. I appreciate the chance to chat. It's good to see you in Vegas and look forward to further conversations.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye, take care.
Bye.
Digam lá se não foi brutal. Eu adorei falar com o David. Espero que vocês também comentem, façam os vossos comentários, façam as vossas questões. Se quiserem, também podem entrar em contato com o David, ele é super acessível, e espero que vocês tenham gostado destas conversas um bocadinho diferentes, e que, já sabem, na próxima semana vamos